Good evening, everyone. Looks like people are piling in pretty quickly here, which is great. Super excited about tonight. And I want to, first of all, as people are coming in, say thank you for joining. In the chat, please let us know where you're, joining us from. It always helps to see friendly faces and where people are from. Oh, Wilmington, North Carolina. Hey, Aubrey, how are you? This is great. It's always nice to see fellow unfranchised owners attending, and we're going to have a great turnout for this. We're going to get right into it within a few minutes, mainly because there's a lot to cover, and super excited about this. So we've got a lot of people attending. As you're joining, if you have any questions that you already have or that are come up during the presentation, please put them in the Q&A. Myself and Jason with Bottom Line Concepts will do our best to answer those. We are going to have time at the end to answer some. And while you're joining, I'll just kind of cover from a high level for those of you that weren't at Leadership School. I almost called it World Conference, but at Leadership School, you missed a great event, and we're building, in the homes now and building to the next event, which is going to be International Convention here in Greensboro, North Carolina. But for those of you that were there, you got an opportunity to already understand what this opportunity may look like and the size of the opportunity. So I'm glad that you were able to listen in on that and hear Mark present it, and Josh Fox, the CEO, also present from stage. I'm going to cover some of that same material just from a high level because there were some people that weren't there, and I want to make sure that people understand it. And then we're going to get into the meat of it too. So even if you saw this, don't stick with me because I promise you we're going to get into the meat of it. So good to see everyone joining. It is now 2 minutes after. We'll give about another minute or two. Again, appreciate the chat, letting us know where you're from. Jason, hopefully you can see that. We've got good coverage across the country, which is great. Expecting well over 1,000 people to attend, which is really good turnout. That tells me that people are excited, and that's super excited. Oh, great. So we see some.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect.
Hey, how are you? How's everybody doing? So Eddie, I just want to let you know the questions are pouring into the Q&A chat.
Yeah, I see
everybody. We see your questions. They will get answered.
Yeah.
Well, I want to start typing away, but I got to wait for Eddie.
Yeah. And we'll get to them. So I'm going to just go ahead and start since we've got enough people that are here listening. We got people raising their hand. All good. This is great. So yes, put them in the chat. We'll get to them. I promise. This is also going to be made available, recorded version. We're going to put this on the landing page on Unfranchised. So it's going to be there, which is great as an asset. It's also great for people that didn't listen or people that maybe come in the business later, 2 weeks from now, a month from now. So we're going to continue to do other Zoom calls as well. Jason and I already were talking about, some more specific ones about how to approach a merchant and things like that. So we'll get into it. But it's all great. We're going to keep this thing moving. So I'm hoping that everyone can see my screen. I'm going to assume you can. And again, most of you know why you're joining, but this is a very exciting new strategic partnership that we have partnered with. And, this company is a pioneer in this field. So you may see or hear other stuff, commercials, email, etc. There's a lot of stuff out there trying to take advantage of these programs, but this is a pioneer, someone that's lived it, done it, been involved way before even this became available. So they successfulully helped businesses across the United States receive over $4 billion in government programs similar to this. And many of you have heard or may have heard of PPP. But a lot of people haven't heard of the ERC, or better known as the Employee Retention Credit, or it's the other way around, better known as ERC. But I asked that question, how many of you have heard of it? That's basically almost what you're going to ask the business owner too. But a lot of people haven't heard it. Rewards are going to be huge. Legal is going to get mad because I'm saying this, but it's going to be colossal for you that take advantage of it and refer small businesses to the ERC. You have the potential to reap really big rewards in our compensation plan. And that's the beautiful thing of the people that are on this Zoom call, Jason, is that they understand the power of our marketing plan. And when we pump, the volume into it and people are participating, it's going to really pay people commissions, which is at the end of the day, what many of us are here for. So Josh is not able to attend tonight. Those of you that were at the leadership school, you got a chance to hear from him. But he's definitely a pioneer, in this area, partnered with companies from all sizes up to Fortune 100. Bottom Line Concepts, which Jason is here with us tonight. He's the head of corporate partnerships. So really he's more relevant, more pertinent to have on this call because he's our liaison. We've become close friends. He's given me advice because I too want to take a part of this program and take advantage of it. So you're in good hands again with Bottom Line Concepts and with Jason tonight. Here's just some of the companies that they've worked with. And I'm not going to go through these, but you'll recognize some without a doubt in different categories and different types of businesses. So they have a huge footprint, well-versed with small merchants to bigger clients, et cetera. So no harm in having them handle your referrals. So here's just some, good candidates for the ERC, and really it covers a lot. Most of people think about COVID, or they think, the restaurants, going out to eat, things like that. But there were so many other businesses that were impacted. And this is just, a good sampling of them. We'll get into it a little bit because it made me even think about some businesses that I could refer that I wouldn't have thought of previously. So we have some kind of thought-provoking categories at the end, but restaurants are an easy fit. If somebody owns a restaurant, I had a buddy of mine owns a bunch of hotels, great candidate. So we'll continue on. This information too is also on them franchise, which I'm going to cover. So you can go back and refer to it. Again, how do you know if a business is eligible? Most people think, like even Market America did when we first looked at it, that your revenue had to be impacted, had to go down significantly for you to qualify. Not true. You can still qualify for the ERC if you meet a number of other criteria. I think maybe one of the best examples I heard was Tony Robbins. His business actually went up during COVID. He took advantage of the online and the Zooms and had thousands of people joining. But it did impact his business because he had to move from in-person events, face-to-face, to online. So he qualified. And actually, from what I heard here, got a pretty significant ERC check because of such. So how do you get started? Let's get right into it. It's really simple. And if you hadn't done so already, you need to. Let's back up here. So own and franchise, many of you are familiar with this. This is our back office, Jason. You go to the business category, scroll down to ERC program, click it, and just fill out the registration form. The landing page has a lot of information that I'm going to cover, but at the end of the day, you just want to get down to the bottom and there's little anchor buttons. And once you sign up, it's really a simple registration. You're going to receive an email with your referral link, which is crucial to this whole process because that's how we track it all. This is the email you'll receive from Market America. There you see the referral link. It's got my name in it. And that link is what you're going to use to expose it to merchants so that they set up that introductory call. Beautiful thing about this is Bottom Line Concepts does all the work. Doesn't mean that you don't want to be involved if you have a relationship with the merchant, because we want you to, liaison, but they really do all the work. They schedule the call, evaluate, and verify if they are eligible. There's a link also in that email to the Resource and Learning Center, which again, we covered. Here it is here. Again, just a screenshot. There's tons of information in here. Many of your questions may be answered by going to this page. Today, I was actually reviewing quite a bit of it, and I know that there's some other things that we can add to it, and they'll be adding to it as early as tomorrow. Again, this recording will be placed on this page, so you can go back and refer to it, share with other business owners that are in your organization, and also, just get more people involved doing it. Because you know how the management performance plan works, and that is, if everybody's doing a little bit, it really can pay off. So you simply just share that referral link with any U.S. business. The sweet spot is recommended for businesses that have 5 or more employees, up to 500. Jason, I'll let you cover this at the end, but it doesn't mean that if a business has more than 500 employees, they don't qualify. It's just, there's some other criteria. So I'll let Jason, that I'm sure it's gonna be a question that comes up. We'll kind of say that to the end. But simply put, much like the Web Center program, you just want to have that merchant book an appointment. We want to send them qualified leads, but you don't need to qualify so too much. You just need to understand that, they were in business during that time, they were impacted by COVID, and set up the call. They do the rest. So businesses on average will receive their checks from the IRS within 3 to 5 months. I've heard 4 to 6, 3 to 5, so there may be a little bit of, dependency on the IRS, and how that can be. So, but that's a good time frame. This is an important one that I actually added that Mark didn't have in his presentation, but I thought was really important. Only like 84% of the businesses have not filed for ERC, and most don't even know that they exist. So huge opportunity. There's just so many businesses out there that don't even have a clue. Now let's get into how it rewards you. And I think this is where everybody's going to start to pique interest. And that's where some of the questions I saw were coming from. So Bottom Line Concepts is doing all the work for the merchant. And they're going to get 20% of what that merchant receives. On average, and this is just an average, some's going to be more, some's going to be less. Bottom Line Concepts gets about $250,000 back for the business. So just think about that for the small business owner. It's a lot of money. They're leaving on the table, quite frankly, because they're not participating in this. They're not applying for it. They don't, their CPA is not versed in it. We'll cover that. Maybe some of the questions that come up too. But at the end of the day, these businesses need this money, quite frankly, and they have an opportunity to take advantage of it with Bottom Line Concepts. So Bottom Line Concepts, they collect 20%, as I said, of what the business receives. So again, using this example, they're going to collect roughly $50,000. So here's an example of what you'll get with one referral. On average, our partner earns $50,000 per referral. You're going to earn 4% retail profit, or $2,000 cash in this example. You're also going to earn 10% BV. In this example, that's 5,000 BV. We all know that's a nice number. You're going to earn a commission check or several, and that volume obviously is going to help people upline as well. But hold on, this is a big thing. We haven't ever done this before. This is a first. You're not only going to earn BV, you're also going to earn 10% IBV, or 5,000 IBV. Now, I know if I could hear you guys out there, I would hear some applause. It's unfortunate I'm not able to, but for me as an unfranchised owner, which I am, a very proud unfranchised owner, this means a lot to me because IBV hasn't been something that's been on my radar. I'm going to hit or actually flush, potentially with IBV here. So, it's going to really jumpstart people's organizations, especially in the IBV field, but also the BV, and you earn some nice cash in the pocket. So, I mean, you'd be a fool not to take advantage of this. And again, you really just have to know a business owner or know somebody that knows a business owner. So that's only for one referral. Let's look at what 3 referrals look like. On that same example, on average, our partner's earning about $50,000 per referral. So here's what you would earn off 3 referrals: 6,000 cash, 15,000 BV, and 15,000 IBV. So now you're thinking, what do I do with all this volume? That's a lot of BV and IBV. If I get it 1 week, it's, I can't use it all. I'm going to flush, I can't use it all. So what we decided to do was allow you to spread out that volume each week in increments of 2,500 BV and 2,500 IBV. So in that example, you would have the 15,000. You can place 2,500 in each side for each week until it's used up. So now here's some FAQs. So we've gotten through the slides that Mark covered at the event. Here are just some of the FAQs that I've gathered from people that have emailed in, feedback that I've heard, etc. And now we'll start to get into also some advice and maybe some tips, if you will. We already covered how the referrals tracked. Again, you need to sign up, get that referral link, and use it, because the merchant, whoever the merchant's referral link they use, they're going to get the credit. You know, I'll show you how you set up the appointment. I'm gonna skip forward a little bit here. Once you use that referral link, the merchant links over to Bottom Line Concepts' site, which has a landing page, video, all the information they would need to get a taste of understanding what the program's about. But ultimately, they just need to sign up for the appointment, which is clicking on the Get Qualified button. It anchors them down to the end of the page. Really quick, easy question. Now, of course, they make it very clear that if you only have 1099 employees, then don't book an appointment. It's W-2 employees. How many employees do you have? If it's less than 5, Bottom Line Concepts doesn't work with businesses that have less than 5. So if you select either one of the other two, you're going to now get into a scheduler. You're going to schedule a call. And I think that these calls get scheduled pretty quickly. I think within 24 hours, correct me if I'm wrong, Jason. You may be muted, but I think it's 24 hours,
Oh, Eddie, booking an appointment in 24 hours should never be a problem. Like today is the 14th, you click the 15th and you're good.
Great. So that's as simple as it gets. Now let's go back to some of these questions. One of the things, Cullen gave me an example, which I thought was really good. He took his link and just saved it to his notepad on his phone. He goes into a restaurant, he knows the owner. He asked him about the ERC. Have you heard about the ERC credit? No, or maybe, but I don't think we qualify. Well, you probably do. Go ahead and he just clicked through the link and had the merchant do it right there on his phone, set up the appointment. Obviously, the more you can do face-to-face, the better. There are some templates on Unfranchise if you want to email. Potentially there's some print pieces we may develop that you can leave behind. But ultimately, I think it's, if you have that relationship or you're a patron of that business owner and you open up a conversation and you get them to where you have their interest, if you can get them to sign or book the appointment with them, I think your success rate's going to go way up. So I thought that was a good example. He had it, already bookmarked or on his phone in his notepad, so he was able to get them to fill in this information. It's literally like three fields to fill in, so not like lengthy information. It's really important. We're going to follow up with, we're going to cover a little bit tonight because we've got time, but also I think we're going to do another Zoom shortly after this, within a week or so, to give some tips about how to approach businesses. Because there is a way to do it where the success rate is going to go up. We're a one-to-one marketing company. Relationships are built. Many of you have strong relationships because you're already doing and involved with web centers, or you talk to them about shop local, a number of other approaches, payment processing. So you may have some warm referrals, which is great. This is going to be perfect for that. We're not a mass marketing company that just blasts stuff out there, but however you can get people to get interested in it, I'm all for it. Again, you want to get the business owner locked into an appointment and you want to follow up with them. If they didn't book the appointment, we are going to have in the back office the status of each one of your referrals. I failed to mention that because I think it's really important. If you get 2, 3, 4, 10 prospects that are in motion, you want to see that they've scheduled that introductory call. Great. They've qualified. Bottom Line Concepts is working with them. Maybe it's getting some documentation. It's their information gathering process. Then all the way to the IRS is, it's been sent off to the IRS. The IRS has approved it till they get their check. Once they get paid, Bottom Line Concepts gets paid, Market America gets paid, and then the commission's starting to flow to you guys. So that status update in the back office is going to be key to rely on. And it's going to be encouraging. You're going to see the referrals that you've made. You're going to be able to see that BV is going to be coming, that retail profit's going to be coming. So I think that's going to be critical to it. And you can follow up if need be through the process. I'll let Jason address that towards the end. Will there be a professional flyer available to us? We are looking at doing that. I know Bottom Line Concepts has the capability of doing it. They have some in their arsenal, if you will. I just want to make sure that it's used correctly and that we are able to capture that referral link. So we're working on that. English and Spanish are going to be the languages that we can support. Mandarin, probably not so much yet. If enough demand is there, I'm sure Bottom Line Concepts will figure out how to get that done. Or maybe, we have someone that's English speaking and Mandarin speaking individual that can help. But for right now, it's going to be English and Spanish that they can support effectively. Turnaround time for successful referrals. Again, that really is going to depend on, that introductory call and how that goes in the process. They're on it. Bottom line concepts, this is their business. So they're on it. They want to get businesses their money back as quickly as possible. So it's more of on the merchant, I think, of them responding, getting them the information, et cetera. But I'm pretty sure that Bottom Line Concepts is going to get them excited enough about the money they're getting back. They're going to be willing to get the paperwork necessary turned in. The BV and the IBV will be assigned after we get paid. So it's after the merchant gets paid. He's got his money, he's happy. Bottom Line Concepts is going to get theirs, and then they're going to pay Market America right away as well. The cash commission will be paid as well, just in that normal cycle on a Friday to direct deposit to your account. This is a good question. And, if the UFO has one or more successful referrals that hit in that week, and you get, a ton of BV and IBV, you're going to be able to sign 2,500 BV and IBV each week until it runs out. So there's no max amount that it's going to run out. You're going to be able to use it all. Is the ERC program also available to sales reps? Yes, it is, because they have access to a franchise. So they would be able to sign up as well and get a referral link. This one's a little tricky. We talked about it before the call, but if you have a friend that wants to use your referral link, sure, you're going to get credit. They're not. So if they want to participate, you would either need to sign them up as a sales rep with Market America. If by some chance that doesn't work, we're going to figure it out. We're working on, the links, if you will, as we speak. We're going to make sure that people get credit. But again, if they use your referral link, then you're going to get the credit. Covered their site and how to sign up. Just real quick, this is how you schedule a meeting. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious, but, they click that Get Qualified button, book the meeting, select the date and time. Bottom Line Concepts is going to call them. They're going to go over the information, see if they qualify. For me, the short action plan, and then we're going to get into the questions, is simply, if you haven't signed up, you need to. Develop a warm prospect list. I went through today looking at some of the categories, and I was thinking, my dentist, I don't know, he might have been impacted. I don't know. It's a good one I should ask. And then just set the appointment. It's as simple as that. You don't need to learn everything before you start talking to someone, I don't think, in this regard. You just need to set the appointment. So now I'm going to stop sharing. Jason, I'm going to add anything. I'm going to bring up some Q&A. I'll be looking at that if you'd like to say anything.
Eddie, what time do we have until?
We have until 9, so we have plenty of time.
I'm so excited to be here, Eddie. I'm just watching the questions come in. I'm listening to you talk. The one thing that's going through my head is, I hope you guys have such a BV, IBV problem, whatever that means, and it never runs out.
I love it.
So there's great questions coming into the chat. You tell me how you want to go about them. I'm not sure if they're in the chat, they're in the Q&A.
Yeah, I'm looking at
one thing that I keep seeing over and over, Eddie, is, to me, I think one thing I have no problem discussing tonight in a quick version is how to get started, right? You don't have to get it right. You just have to get it going, right? And to me, there's only one question to ask in this program, and that is, have you heard of the employee retention credit? Some people ask it as, did you file for the employee retention credit? And you can only get one of 3 answers. Yes, no, yes, I don't qualify. If they say yes, my gut says you're going to ask, how much money did you get?
Yeah.
If they say no, those are good leads. But when they say yes, I don't qualify, those are the best. Because 80% probably do qualify. They just have misinformation. It goes back to what you talked about with the specific accounting numbers that you think you don't qualify because you don't meet the revenue. But if you look at that page where you had the check boxes of change hours, partial full suspension, all dentists qualify for this grant, to answer your question, Eddie.
Oh, great.
I've worked with over 400.
That's great.
One of my testimonials is a dentist. He had 5 offices, right? And just think about everything he went through, right? There was no more waiting rooms. There was no more the cleanliness, the getting the gowns and the hats.
Yeah.
This isn't a desk job when you're a dentist, right? Keeping your employees safe, keeping the patient safe. The whole point is, if you take your life and you think about what you went through, you will most of the time be able to figure out, was that impact and do you qualify? So great questions in the chat. Almost every one of them are easy for me to answer.
Yeah.
You tell me where you want to begin, because I'm excited.
Yeah, one of the things I think you covered that I was going to bring up is, what are the common objections, that you hear? And I know for me, because I've already started trying to work this, and the first one I heard was, yeah, my CPA is already filing for that, and well, how do you typically handle those? I mean, I know that you guys are the experts, and quite frankly, this guy's CPA was not filing for it, but how would you suggest a unfranchised owner, one of our people, talk to their referral?
My answers, and by the way, I'm very strict about this for myself. You have to keep it positive, right? Because you start bashing the trusted advisor, all right, you're out, right? You're disrespecting me now. So I always say, if you give this to 3 people, you get 3 different answers, right? We do this every day, all day. We filed over 20,000 claims. Your CPA specializes in your financials. This is a payroll tax credit, right? And there's 2 ways to qualify: specific and subjective. He specializes in the specific, right? Your numbers. This is subjective. It's worth a 10-minute call.
Great. So a couple questions.
Please do not start bashing the accountant.
Right.
Yeah. Because guess what? At some point, they need their accountant to finish the process. And if you bash them, good luck.
Yeah, good point. So are churches eligible?
Great. So there's a lot of questions about nonprofits. The answer is, as long as there's W-2 employees involved, which means they file 941s, nonprofits do not pay certain taxes, they are all eligible for the grant. We've been endorsed by many church associations. We've worked with many nonprofits. Think about what it was like to raise money. They couldn't have their events. Think about going to church, right? Went to video conference, right? They couldn't raise money. They couldn't put money in the jar. There's so many things that happened.
Yeah, good point.
That would allow them to qualify for the grant. You just got to put your mind to it.
Yep, good point. How long is that initial call with the merchant, approximately?
So we only schedule a call for 15 minutes, right? We used to schedule 30, but they end in 12, and they think you're rushing them off the phone. So we do 15 minutes. Do some calls go over? Yes, but less than 5%. I mean, because you got to remember, in the call, right? We're going to talk deeper about this on other calls, but in that first minute and 15 seconds, we're going to know if they've heard of the ERC, why they haven't filed, or they don't know about the ERC, right? So if they haven't heard about the ERC, we're into our 8-minute pitch. If they have heard about the ERC and they haven't filed, we're going to ask them, well, why haven't you filed? And they're going to say, well, my accountant looked into it and we made too much money. We took PPP. Our revenue doesn't meet. Great. That's only one way to qualify, but the IRS makes it very clear there's 2 ways.
Right. Okay. Great. Do you have to file the tax return for the business, or you just prepare, you just get it ready for them and they file it? How does that?
No, so what we do is we do their payroll filing, right? So they have a 941 on file with the IRS, and we're turning that into a 941X. We're amending their 941, sending it to the IRS. Their accountant does have to update their financials at some point, right? Again, this is why I don't bash accountants. You need their help.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. What if someone has 2 employees? Are they still eligible? But that's just...
The answer is this, and this is really important, right? Because I just believe the most important thing is to help people and to give right information. What the IRS says, as long as you have 1 or more non-family members in W-2, you are eligible to qualify for this grant. We just have a rule at our company to have a minimum of 5 we had to draw the line somewhere.
Sure.
You
Okay.
gotta remember, most companies with under 5 employees, a lot of them, it's a husband, wife, kids. That number gets lower and lower, and we just couldn't handle. We tried it for a long time, and then one day we just said we can't do it.
Yeah, got it. Okay, very helpful, because I know that will come up, because we do have some unfranchised owners that do, set up a, LLC or corporation, et cetera.
No
So,
owners and/or their family members can qualify for the grant.
and they have to be full-time, right?
No,
No?
they do not have to be full-time. They have to have payroll and a W-2.
Right. Okay, got it. And it's strictly for US businesses, right? So-
Correct. Oh, US Virgin Islands, Guam, Puerto Rico, anywhere that there is W-2.
Okay, great. We have a question from a Canadian, can they participate in the referral program if they have a US business? And my quick answer to that is, because Andrew Chi and I talked about it, we are going to consider rolling this out to Canada, again, for only US businesses. I just want to first get the relationship going with Bottom Line Concepts, and I don't want to get them bad leads, if you will, and there will be some of that happening. So I want to make sure that we educate everyone. If they have a US business, certainly we want you to participate. We're going to make that available. We just wanted to get it out the door, do it the right way, and then add to it. We're not going to wait long. So we just want to kind of establish.
Want to get your feet wet. Want to get your feet wet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think some people are wanting tips to speak to business owners. That's kind of where I was going with I think we should have another one about, how to approach a business owner, but we have time. We can cover some of that if we have time at the end. Let's keep going through some of these questions, because I want to get to if anybody has a real rock that's bothering them, definitely the tips of how to approach business owners.
Can I go there for a second though?
Yeah, please do.
So I used to teach 5 Zooms a week that would have about 75 people on each one, right? And I always answered the end the same way, right? So I'm going to give you my 2 favorite quotes.
Okay.
100% of the shots you don't take, you miss.
Oh yeah, I love that one.
Wayne Gretzky. If you don't try, you're never getting started, right? You live on. And my other favorite one is, you don't have to get it right. You just have to get it going. You're going to make mistakes along the way.
I love that.
Okay. We have one rule. Our rule is very simple. Here's what we consider to be a good lead. They have 5 or more employees.
Yep.
Started their business prior to February 15th, 2020, and they want to have a call.
Yeah. That's
a good lead.
Yeah.
If you try and go deeper in the beginning, you're just going to tangle yourself. You're going to cause confusion. They're going to run to their accountant. It's over. You lost. Market lost.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the other tips I was thinking of, and Jason Pellin and he's on our web center team. He runs it, and basically we have business owners, unfranchised owners that are already talking to business owners today. And he said what he sees oftentimes a failure rate is where people go in and they do try to do too much. Really you just want to introduce it and set the call. I think the only thing that may be, as I was thinking, is that handoff is if you're introducing, you're with Market America and you're introducing Bottom Line Concepts, you need to establish that they're a strategic partner, if you will. And it looks like we got Josh Fox attending, the CEO that was at the event at Leadership School that I mentioned. Josh, thanks for attending. If you want to say a few words, you can. We're in some Q&A, and Jason now is getting them excited because we're talking about how to approach a merchant. So thanks for joining. You may be muted. Hopefully you can hear me. All right, we'll see if he can jump in there, but for now we'll keep going. The other thing, what I was trying to say though is I think that explaining, the Bottom Line Concepts as our strategic partner, I think is important. But again, don't get too far into the weeds in it. Try to just set the appointment. I mean, you're basically offering this merchant monies that they don't know about, aren't planning on getting, and are going to miss out on it. And so yeah, go ahead.
So, you brought it up from an interesting topic. I mean, yes, I understand honesty is the greatest virtue, but if you're just talking to a business owner, hey, you've heard about this program, and they want to have a call, to me, just go through with it. I mean,
Yeah, I get
you're
it.
not hiding anything under the table. I mean, if something says, what's your relationship? Hey, Market America has built a strategic partnership because we believe that we need to get this out to all the small businesses around the country, because there's this grant out there for them that is eligible. There's misinformation, and we're just here to help people. Again, just make it positive.
Yeah, I got it. Here's one question, kind of, I'm not sure how to approach it, so I'll let the professional answer. We are seeing many people in our area who say they applied and were denied. Can they reapply?
So this is not the PPP was an approval or denial. The employee retention credit, as long as you submit that 941X, you don't write one sentence, you will get the monies. It's a matter of when, not if. The whole reason we have these conversations up front is, one, to make sure that they understand the program, what they're getting into. We don't want to put square pegs in round holes. And the whole conversation is had just so that the only time that a question can come up might be in 2 years. If you go through the program, you will get the money. It's a matter of when, not if.
Yep, got it. Here's another one. Can a restaurant still qualify for ERC if the restaurant receive RRF?
Yes. So what we just have to do is whatever was used for payroll. We get that question a lot. And this is the only thing that this runs, let's say, parallel with, is the PPP for the most part, right? And keeping things simple. Now you start getting into churches, there might be something that they get from the government, whatever it is. But for the most part, in 95% of the businesses or the nonprofits you'll talk to, the only thing that runs parallel is the PPP. And we have to remove the payroll from there too, just like with the RRF restaurant program. You just got to remove it, but there is still money available to these people.
Great. Love to hear that.
Same with the R&D credit.
Okay, great. I sold my business at the end of January 2023. Will I still be eligible to apply for ERC dated back to 2021 and 2022?
So you can date back for 20 and 21. Okay. And the answer is yes. Just they're going to be sending you checks. You got to have a bank account that you can deposit it.
Right. Okay. And you know, just I'll say this too. I mean, I've had a handful of unfranchised owners that have already started participating in this and have familiarity with bottom line concepts and speaks very highly of the process. And they're very well versed in it. So they've already been doing their due diligence and learning the ins and outs. And I appreciate the feedback. And you guys know who you are that have helped me also learn a little bit. So this is going to be a great opportunity. And collectively, I think we can, you know, really make something big here for those of you that are interested in it.
So Eddie, what we have to do to make this successful is, one, we have to make sure we're speaking once, twice a week of how to get better, right? If we don't get better, we become a dinosaur. But we really also have to make sure that we put that effort in to help your members, right? Do Zooms, do Q&As, you know, maybe even get it interactive where we're all talking, right? But what we help them do will only help them get better. And I'm all in.
Yeah, I love it.
You're all in. We are all in.
Great. Well, we are for sure. That's the only way we do things. So I love that. And I appreciate that pledge there, because together I know that we can make some stuff happen. So this is great. Let's see. I'm scrolling down. Wow, some of these have been answered. This is great. A lot of thanks for me. Don't thank me. I swear, I'm an unfranchised owner just like you guys. We bleed the same blood. I tell you, I'm anxious about this as well, and ready to get out there, and already have started some and looking forward to talking to more people. We were using employee numbers during the time period of 2020 and 2021, ? I would say yes, right?
Yes. So here's the program time frame, right? It's the whole program is 6 quarters. Q2 20, Q3, Q4, Q1 21, Q2 and Q3 at 21, right? But there's more to it. Everybody hears about $26,000. Not many companies get $26,000, right? There's rules, right? People take PPP. What state are you based in, right? If you hear that companies are getting $26,000 per, I'd be real nervous.
Yeah.
Because in my eyes, there's only one way to get up to $26,000, is that you took you only took one PPP, and you had a revenue decline in Q2 or Q3 of 21 that allow you to qualify. Because otherwise, most states, you do not qualify for Q3 of 21.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. So,
Let's talk numbers.
yeah.
Let's talk numbers.
Yeah.
So, guys, this is something I would write down that you are not going to find in the resource. Well, you can add this to the resource center.
Yeah, yeah.
These are only averages, okay? And let's make that clear. Averages. Everything is based on payroll. But on average, if a company took 2 PPPs, they will get $8,000 to $10,000 per full-time employee. If a company took 1 PPP, they will get $12,000 to $14,000 per full-time employee. And if they took no PPPs, 17 to 19 per full-time employee. Notice how I didn't say 26.
Yeah.
Let me give an example. If a company had 20 employees, took 1 PPP, on average, they get $240,000 to $280,000. And then I saw a question coming up about how we get paid. Everything is on contingency. We do not do credit checks. It's an honor system. We do not charge up front. We do not charge along the way. The only time we get paid is after they deposit a check.
Yeah, and I like that. I mean, that's makes the business feel more assured that there's no gotcha. You know, there's no what do I have to do to be able to get my money? Do I got to give you guys something up front and then maybe I don't get my money? I mean, I really like that approach. To me, that again, for me, talking to a merchant reassures me that, hey, look, you really have nothing to lose. Just take the call, see if you qualify. And there may be some, found money out there that you didn't know, existed to help you get back on your feet, to help you, recover some losses that you took during that time period. So one of the questions came up, and I'll just reiterify again that we are going to have in the back office statuses. We're working on that right now to pull in as referrals come in. You'll be able to see that your referral's there. Did they take the call? Did they qualify all through the process? We're working on pulling that in. Bottom line has all that information. They make it available. We're just trying to pull it into our back office so you'll be able to see it. So that will be there. But
in the meantime, if there's any questions, people, please do not feel you can't reach out to Eddie, his team, for answers, because Eddie and I will work. We already do work very closely together. Yeah. And I promise you, if you can't see it in your back office, nothing is being hidden from you. That's the only guarantee. Eddie will get in touch with me and I will make sure that you have your answers.
Right, exactly. Here's a question I want to clarify. So if the merchant uses your link and they click on it, they are going into the process in Bottom Line's environment to set the appointment. So you don't get an email to then set the appointment. You don't have to do any of that. Literally just share that link. The merchant uses it, they set the appointment, what's most available for them and their schedule.
Totally. But let me go a step further, right? This is sales too, right? If you're with them and they see the link, you want to try and get them to book it right there.
Yeah.
Versus, hey, here's the link and I'll get around to it, right? That's like sales 101 of I'm trying to get out of this. So,
right.
I hate to say, you got to use a little bit of a sales hat. Like, you listen, with what you sell, you know how to sell.
Yep. Here's one. We own a garage and are a UFO. Can we refer ourselves? My answer to that is most certainly if you qualify. If you have the criteria for the full-time employees, et cetera, and as Jason mentioned earlier, they're not family members, that type of thing, and you qualify, by all means, you can refer yourself. I mean, many of us have another business. I know when I was pushing Shop Local, which is a great program that we have for restaurants and bars that participate in a local model, that we have a lot of business owners out there that are very entrepreneurial, and have another business. God bless you. Definitely refer yourself and take advantage of it. How long will the ERC program last? I think you already answered that.
Oh, let's go there.
Okay. So
by rules, right, and it can be stopped at any time. For 2020, you have until April 15th of 24. Mm-hmm. And for 2021, you have until April 15th of 25. Guys, I don't know how to explain it in words, but take it from somebody who has been in the business since ERC became a popular product. I was in the right place at the right time. Trust me when I say, please don't say, oh, I missed the boat, because we're not even in finishing the third inning of a baseball game. Every week we set records of signing up more and more clients. We have another year of a fast runway. Because remember, a year ago, we were selling hope.
Yep.
Today, we're becoming the topic of a dinner table.
Right.
So all those people that were skeptical, I'm telling you, if you do this right, you are going to have the best 8, 9, 10 months of your life. I don't know how to preach it, but I'm living proof, and I'm seeing it happen every day.
Great. I love to hear that. Thank you for that. That's great. Does a business have to refile their tax returns to then apply or qualify?
So not to qualify, but this is why I said the accountant has to be your friend. Because you do have to go back and amend the periods that you took the grant, and it will be a taxable event. Right? It is what it is. Last time I checked, nothing is 100% taxable.
Yeah, right. I've seen this one come up. At first I wasn't gonna bring it up, but I better, because it's now the second time. Charter schools.
Very interesting topic. Okay. The answer is some yes, some no.
Okay.
It all depends how they take government funds. And are the government funds considered instrumental? If the answer is yes, then they don't qualify. But there are some charter schools out there that most of their money comes from private donations.
Here's one I'm not sure if I'm reading it correctly. I personally work where I am the only non-family employee. So should I approach my boss or not?
I mean, I don't know what you make, but I can tell you this, that if you make, $40,000 a year, your boss will get back at least $10,000, $12,000. Unfortunately, we can't help him.
Right.
But this is something that if you think that's worth it to him, and the mathematics makes sense to you, why not?
Yeah.
Last time I checked, an extra couple bucks in my pocket is better than not.
That's right. That's right. I like it. What if they had to lay off their employees eventually?
That's fine. We're only looking at the payroll journals during the time.
Okay, great. What are some of the strongest objections? I think we've covered some. I know the one, that I had was my CPA's already looked into it for us. And as I, had the conversation with them and got the call set up, they actually hadn't. So, what are some of the other stronger objections that you hear?
So one of the bigger objections, I guess, is, they hear about these little bucket shops or startup companies that are getting into the program.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been around since 2009. We've worked with the Yankees, the Red Sox, Domino's Pizza. You name a large Fortune 1000 company, and there's a 70% chance we worked with them, right? So that is so important in this program because, again, what's the downside? The downside is in 2 years, you get a letter that they want to know how you qualify, and they say a portion of it might have to go back. Most of the companies out there, you will never find the employees. I will guarantee it, right? So you want to work with a company like us because we've been around since 2009 and we will be here in the future. Something else is going to come up.
Right. Okay, great. For someone that's a CPA, what part are they going to have to play in it? Because we have someone that's actually a CPA as well. So I'm glad you recommended not to bash the CPA, but they want to get all their clients into this program, but they also want to understand maybe what the additional work will be by the CPA.
You're just amending the 941s. No, we're amending the 941s. So you're going to have to take that number and lower your payroll expenses in those quarters, which will cause a taxable event. So you're just redoing the financials. But Mr. Accountant that's on the call, why don't you reach out to Eddie? We can have a call one-on-one because, cash basis, accrual basis. I speak to accountants all the time, and I can give you what they're doing at this point Whereas 5 months ago, they might have been doing something else. But I would love to have a one-on-one with an accountant. I understand you have your clients, and I have some great tips to make life easy for you, because you're doing all the back end work most likely too.
Yeah, thank you for that. There was another one along those lines, and I made a comment. I did put my email address to everyone out there. Please don't share with the world, but for those of you, my family members that are on the call, definitely reach out to me, because this is exciting and I want to help make it happen. So I did put that in the chat. It just made me go down to the bottom. I want to kind of find out where I was. It was a good one. Okay, here we go. Do franchises qualify?
Are you talking to me or your franchise?
Yeah, talking to you. Do franchises qualify?
Those are the best.
Okay.
Right? Because think about it, they're all small business owners. Right? They just have a DBA of the franchise. So they're just like anybody else. I mean, we've worked with Subways, Domino's Pizza, Little Pete, whatever it's called, Little Caesars, IHOP, Home Helpers, Bright Star. All industries have franchises, and they're an amazing opportunity, because here's how you really win. When you do right by the franchise owner, they send an email to all the other franchise owners.
Perfect.
Game over.
So when businesses receive the money from the ERC program, they need to file an amended tax return. Any deductions based on payroll would be double dipping. Could you clarify that? I don't know what that.
No, you can't double dip the PPP and the ERC, but we take that out before we give the number.
Okay.
But you do have to pay taxes on the money, and some people think that's strange that the government's giving you money to give it back to them.
Right. Okay, got it.
Is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. And what amount is taxable, the total or the net?
Well, you take out our fee as a consulting fee, like would be in any balance sheet, right? Or any financials. But then, so whatever the total is, that's how it will work.
Yep. Here's a question. Is this a loan? My understanding is
No,
not a loan.
It is a grant. You can go buy a boat.
Right. Or put it into the business, get a new stove.
Listen, most people, guys, are doing the right thing with the money, man. Think about, I don't know where the geographic location is here, right? But what I will tell you is this: when you speak to a small town business owner, they hadn't paid themselves a salary. They were falling behind on their bills because they needed to make sure their employees were paid. And now we're just giving them that back, and they're just reinvesting it in their own small business.
Yeah. Okay. And here's one that I have. I know we've talked about some tips. And obviously, if you know the business owner, you're in front of them, you get the appointment scheduled, great. Are there other ways to contact business owners and introduce the ERC? I mean, do you think email is effective? Do you think?
I'll answer that very easy.
Okay.
Every way works.
Okay.
You just got to be the best at it. You got to practice, right?
Yeah, got it.
I can tell you, I know people that are cold calling that are making 6 figures. I know people that are email blasting, cold email blasting, that are making 7 figures. Every which way works. Just, you got to practice, figure out what you're doing right, figure out what you're doing wrong, and put it all together. It's like anything else. Yeah,
I mean, I think that makes sense. And definitely it's a numbers game. I do think, though, that starting with your warm referrals, if you know someone that owns a business, that's like a layup. You should be going and talking to them and getting them to at least take the call. I think that, like Jason said, and JR said this many years, that, if you don't change anything or don't try anything different, things will always be the same. So you've got to kind of
dinosaur. What happens to dinosaurs? They're extinct.
Yeah, you got to stop thinking so much and just do it. Get out there. And Mark addressed that at leadership school. And I think, Jason, you said it. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So you don't have anything to lose. Again, you're doing the business owner a favor in the end. I mean, because most of them are not educated on it, quite frankly, or they haven't heard of it at all. So you're doing them a favor. You're not. There's no gotcha in it, if you will.
This is like anything else in life. It's 80% mental and 20% product.
Yeah.
right? If you are passionate, practice, become the best at what you do, you'll succeed. The barrier to entry into this business, it's unbelievable. I mean, I work with people from 19 years old,
right,
85, 86 plus, and sometimes I scratch my head when I see that this 19-year-old kid got this CEO on the phone, and I'm like, people
right,
are begging this guy to do it. It didn't work, but this 19-year-old kid wrote the perfect email at the perfect time. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got to put the puck in the zone, if you will. That's a hockey saying, but
Persistence is key.
yeah. What year did they have to start their business before?
Prior to February 15th, 2020.
Got it. Okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah, here's a perfect example of someone who says that, he's a limo company that he worked 23 years for. The guy has over 150 employees, used to have 300, and they are struggling. I hope we can help them.
Listen, guys, what the IRS says, as long as there's a full or partial suspension of one's business or trade, every limo company qualifies. It's a matter of explaining it the right way. The only thing you have to look at there is 1099s. But if someone has a limo company and they didn't do this yet, they need to get aggressive, because that guy is going to get the biggest hug from you when you take him through this process, because that's a layup.
Yeah.
I'm going to use a strong phrase here, right? But let's not go into it. You can quantify the subjective.
Yeah. And I think here's another one. I think how much time should the business owner schedule to be available for the call? If we clarify that,
15 minutes.
So
15 minutes.
easy. Yeah, I mean,
you don't sell this in 15 minutes, you ain't selling it.
Right. Gotcha. Let's see. There are some other questions about the placement of the volume. I'm not going to cover that here. I think we cover that internally, maybe put it in the FAQs. That's more of an internal thing. Won't get into that yet, but there's some good questions that have come up, and I want to make sure that I answer it the correct way. Whether you need to be activated to get the commissions. Well, yes, you do. But I'll get into that because I think that there's some, want to clarify some things. Won't do it right this minute though. Let's see. If the business owner gets approved and receives IRS money, does he or she need to pay it back in the future?
No.
Yeah. This webinar will be recorded, and we will be doing more. So just want to earmark that. We want to make sure we continue to share information and help you guys as much as possible. Okay.
So here's my thoughts, right? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this, right?
Hey.
I think we need two types of webinars here. We need a webinars for everybody to get them started. I see some of the questions in.
Yeah.
And because we have people that are submitting 3, 5, 10 leads, we built a separate webinar for them because they get it.
Yeah.
Help them take that 10 to 100.
Got it. I love that. Team, I think you guys would agree. So what I'll do is after this, I will work with Jason. We'll get some communication out there. We'll make this webinar available. We'll put it on that landing page. I'm sure we've even probably created more curiosity, questions, and excitement, which is great. That's what we wanted to do. And we're here for you. I put my email in the chat. I can't wait to see how that blows up. I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. But, I welcome emails from unfranchised owners. I get tons of emails from outside third parties and doing stuff with my corporate position. But quite frankly, the emails I get from you guys, you're my family. You know what I mean? And if I can help you guys earn commission checks and I can do it myself, it's a win-win-win, So
Win-win.
This is great. We're obviously going to do more. I'll work with Jason to schedule a webinar for those people that are, they're already doing it. They've got more referrals. How can we get them to even do more? So again, guys, I want to be mindful of time. We're right at the 9 o'clock. There are some questions that we probably didn't get through. I'll make sure I export that, go through them. I may even reach out to you guys personally. Let me just flow through a couple more of these. Jason, I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank everybody for coming. I love this. I love helping people. I mean, I never realized what my craft was. And then when I got involved in this, where I took this is I love helping other people become successful at this.
That's great, man. let me look through a couple of these, because there was some in the chat, some in the Q&A, and I'm just, man.
All over the place. I'm watching.
It's great though. It's great. You know, I love to see this kind of activity and engagement, because that means, you know, people are looking for the answers and going to go out there and do it. Okay. Okay. And I think all of you guys are attending, because ultimately, you know, seeing you all at leadership school was great. We don't get to see each other enough, but even when we can communicate through these, I really like the idea of a potential webinar with a smaller group of people that can be interactive too. And I'm sure Jason will be willing to do that as well. And, you know, before you know it, we have international convention. I love to see the next 5.5 months or whatever, you know, blow it up, so that we can do even more with this program. Here's one I will end on, is because I think this may come up kind of as a common question, you know, is that our unfranchised owners, can they refer their own business if they own a business with at least 5 employees? I think the answer is right, as long as they're not family members and they're full-time.
So let's look at it this way, okay, Eddie? Let's take it away from the referring their own business, right? Let's talk about the program. If there's 5 or more W-2 employees, it's worth a conversation to see if you qualify. I don't know what kind of business you have to say yes or no.
Right.
But from this call, as you can see, if you think about how you operated in 2019, the pivots and changes you made after COVID, what were they? Doctor's offices. The biggest concern in 19 was the waiting room. After COVID, there was none.
Yeah, and we have a division of our company where we have Nutrimetrics Consultants, which is a division that only focuses on health practitioners, so doctors' offices and things like. So they're going to be great, you know, for this. And yes, I believe certainly should set up calls with their medical practice, you know.
So the whole point is just anybody on here that's a business owner, 5 or more employees, even if you have less, reach out to Eddie, tell him the type of business, and I'll give you my thoughts. I've worked with every industry at this point.
I love it. We're going to continue to evolve this. I appreciate everybody's time. We'll add to the resource center. Go check it out now. There's a lot of good information there already. We're going to continue to add to it. We're going to put this webinar up as soon as we can. I think it takes till tomorrow to be able to make it available, but you know, I'll be on it first thing in the morning, getting our team here at Market America Corporate to support each and every one of you. I'm going to make myself available. I want to see this thing be a huge success. I believe in you. I know you can go out there and do it. Again, don't overthink it. Just ask the business owner and set the appointment. Thank you all for your time.
Awesome, guys. Have a great night.
God bless you. Have a good night. Thank you.